Hey everybody, it's been a while. Joe's Philosophy, speaking here in the south of France on the tail end of a heat wave. And today's a hot day, but it's summer hot, not heat wave hot. We've had a lot of hot days and hot weeks, I should say. And we had to get through it, and we did get through it. And I rode my bike a few times, but not as much as I would in not heat wave times. And people might say, "Hey, that's a nice little bike behind you." Yep, 70s frame maybe, steel with nice joins on it, really beautiful bike. And lightweight, and I did it up for a young guy who's going to be riding to and from school on it. And that's why I put it behind here, because I want to talk a little about electric bikes as compared to mechanical bikes. And the electric bike, I think, is a phenomenon that is with us, is here to stay, that's for sure. And people get a lot out of electric bikes. I know they do. And I just want to talk about electric bikes and the phenomenon behind it, and the thinking it may cause in our heads as we get more and more addicted to batteries and motors helping us in many things we do in our life. I mean, I've ridden over the years with clubs and people, 60s, 70s, 80s. Even I rode to a guy's 90th birthday, one of the first people I rode with in a club back in the 90s when I first met my wife Angie. He met me at the cafe where we were meeting for a ride. We commenced to do a 60-mile ride, 100 kilometers for those people who are in kilometers there. And he was 78 years old, and I even rode with him on his 90th birthday, and he was still riding. And a lot of the guys in the club, 60s, 70s, some guys started at 62. Again, he used to ride bikes when he was younger. His working life took over. 62, he got back on his bike, and he was still doing time trials into his 70s. And so, I meet a lot of people like that back then, and now I meet a lot of older people who are getting back on their bikes, but a lot of times they're electric bikes, and they think around here, because it's a hillier area, that's the only way you can get back on a bike. But you can still ride a mechanical bike, and I think we have to weigh up the electrical bike versus the mechanical bike. A lot of people spend a lot of money on electric bikes. I was in the middle of fixing a bike for a guy who bought a beautiful lightweight full suspension bike, and then proceeded to put 25 or 30 pounds worth of batteries and motors on it. And so of course that does, it enhances maybe him getting up a hill, and if he's going to use it as a second car. But maybe if he rode that bike more and more every day without the motor on it, maybe he'd just be just as fit. I don't know. But once we start putting in that extra weight of lithium-ion batteries and motors, a lot of your riding is actually moving the weight around. Whereas there are lightweight bikes out there, and there's creative ways that I've done so many bikes in this area. I've custom made touring bikes based around a 26-inch wheel, based around a 700cc wheel, based around the racing tire 700cc wheel. And I got people out there touring who were thinking about getting batteries, and I said, please don't do that. I don't recommend batteries for touring. It just adds more weight onto the frame, and then you kind of, the autonomy of going any way you want is kind of taken away, because you do have to charge it and worry about charging it. And then you could add solar panels and add lots of other things. But the beauty of a bicycle and the beauty of the human body is we'll get fitter and fitter as the more you ride. Like that young couple I did build those two touring bikes for, who didn't think they could ever do what they are doing, and they've been on the road now for several months and several thousand kilometers, and absolutely loving it. And so anyway, the body gets fitter, we get fitter, and everything goes on. And the electric bike, sometimes changes the mentality. We were on a group ride the other day, and we were struggling up a hill. And yeah, it's hard work going up a hill on a bicycle. But you get to the top, you feel good. You take a breather. If you have fast recovery, great. And if you don't, maybe you get faster recovery the more fitter you get. But when the mentality comes like, oh, you should get a motor, that's the mentality that worries me about the electric bike. I understand there's a reason for it. If you have bad knees, bad heart, you're replacing your second car. Lots of great reasons, but don't let it replace your second bike. Your bike. Let it be your second bike. Use it for shopping and inclement weather, but always have that mechanical bike, because people are going to forget the the beautiful of a freewheel, the sound of just going downhill with no resistance of a motor or no weight or nothing stopping you. Just a nice bicycle ride, free and free flowing, and not worrying about how much battery charge you have left. Do I put it in eco or do I put it in touring mode or whatever mode? Just get on your bike, choose your distances, choose your hills, choose your rides to your fitness, get fitter and fitter and fitter. I've cycled with many people in the beginning, didn't think they'd be able to ride, and 2 years later upgraded to lighter weight bicycles and started doing triathlons, started doing longer rides, centuries, metric centuries. It happens, all tours around the world, whatever. I've met lots of people over my years in the bike industry, and and luckily most of my years in the bike industry didn't have the electric bike there looming, drawing us in, going, ooh, I want that. So, they're sexy, they're nice, they're light, they have a motor, they help you get up hills, but we have to weigh up everything about it. Ecologically, the lithium-ion battery, in 2006, the U.S. government put out a thing and said, oh yes, lithium-ion battery is not a hazardous waste. It could be put in the normal waste, waste area. Now, 15 years later, I mean, not now, but 15 years after that, I read something that says, ooh, over 100 gases are emitted from lithium ion. It is a hazardous waste. Heavy metals that leach into the groundwater, and it leaches into the environment. Dangerous is a dangerous waste. So, we have lithium ion batteries in everything, tools, power tools. This thing I'm recording with right now, and I'm not being a Luddite. I'm always very cautious with new technology, where it takes us, where it wants to take us, and why. Do we become more dependent on, young people start competing now on mountain bikes, on electric bikes? Where is that fitness that's going to take you into your 60s, 70s? If you don't ride a normal bike your whole life, if you're dependent on the motor the whole time, what are we going to need? Hovercrafts in 20 years from now? So, it's just the mechanical bicycle. This one's been rolling for 40 or maybe 50 years, and it's still going to be rolling now. This young kid's going to buy it. My daughter used it. And that's the beauty of the mechanical bike. And you can find somebody in your area who might transform bikes and put light gear, nice gears on it, nice gearing, on a lightweight steel frame from the 70s, 80s, 90s. And that's really true recycling, and that's really great for the environment to reuse all the stuff that's out there. You can get some nice custom stuff built. I built out of my little place here for people going on long tours around the world, riding around the area. And so we just have to keep in mind the mentality of, we need it. I want it. In 1994, I met a guy when I was going across America on my bicycle. He had a mobile phone in his handlebar bag, and I just kind of laughed at him and said, why would you want to be in touch all the time? And I just said, that'll never catch on. Okay, so I was wrong. But it did catch on. But has it enhanced our life to the point where we thought it was going to free us from all these things? Is it great being connected all the time? Is it great having, pings and dings? And is it great having our youth, addicted to screens? So let's just be cautious on the electric bike, on the motor, on a motorized bicycle all the time. Don't forget the mechanical bike. The mechanical bike has been around for well over 100 years, nearing probably closer to in the 150 to 200 range now. And it's a wonderful way to, you go uphill and you sweat a bit, but you go down that hill, your heart rate slows down after you did that nice climb, you get fitter, and that's what the mechanical bike can give you, can still give you, and the electrical bike could do the same, but we always have to worry about the next charging point, how's the battery, what setting do I put it on, eco, touring, fast, whatever the settings are, and is it addictive? Yeah, I'm sure it is. I've ridden an electric bike once, and I got up hills on the mountain bike that I didn't think I ever would, but I just don't do that kind of mountain biking anymore, and I don't really miss it. I have all my mechanical bikes, and I'm really fine with it, and I just think that we have to really think long and hard, and if the electrical bike is replacing a second car, great, but don't let it be the only bike you have then. Always have that nice lightweight secondary bicycle where you could just go for a bike ride without that motor, without that weight. And you might find you start using one more than the other. I have a friend who has both, and in the beginning the electric bike started, and then he had a nice lightweight racer bike, and he started, and then the lightweight bike without the battery started taking over his riding. So that's my little tip. If you do get an electric bike, maybe save up a bit more money, maybe get the right bike. There's lots of sub $200, $300 euro bikes, whatever, out there that just don't turn you on to cycling, that make it much harder. You got to spend the right money. But even if you spend the right money, you spend $2,000, say, on a bike with a steel frame that's been custom fit for you with the right gearing, $2,000 is a lot cheaper than a mid-range electric bike that the battery will die and cost you $400 or $500 to replace, and then that battery is going to go in the landfill and add to a lot of the wastes that we have in this world that we want less of. So as we're all cyclists here, let's try to be part of the problem. That was funny, a little Freudian slip there. Let's not try to be part of the problem, be part of the solution, and let's ride on mechanical bikes as much as possible. And if we have to ride electric bikes, let's not ride with that mentality, ooh, I'm glad I have the motor for this hill, or push other people who are struggling up hills, hey, get a motor, much easier. That's not the mentality. It's like, hey man, well done, get up that hill, meet you at the top. And let's ride together, and all for the same reason, to keep fit, to keep ourselves in touch with nature, to explore the cities, the towns, the countryside that we live in, because the bicycle is a wonderful invention. And don't forget that mechanical bike can roll on for years and years and years more, and it's possible to change gears, it's possible to change gearing, it's possible to change wheel sets. This bike, none of the equipment on this bike is original, and now it's much lighter than its original self was, and it's probably a very high quality bike back then, and now it rolls even nicer. So we can improve on the past, on those steel frames from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 70s even, and put low gearing on it and just enjoy a bike ride economically as well. Electric bikes, they don't stop tapping into you. You wear out brake shoes a lot more. You got to replace batteries every few years. You know, I have a bike, many of my bikes are 20, 25 years old. I replaced chains and tires over the years, and cassettes. It's cost me hundreds, maybe over a 25-year period. Not even the price of one replacement battery, I don't think, in some of my maintenance. Okay, Joe Diamidi, Joe's Philosophy, that's it, just throwing it out there to the universe. Whatever you ride, electric or mechanical, ride that bicycle, get in touch with nature, get in touch with yourself, get those true feelings, see why you're on that electric bike, or why you want to get that electric bike, and you know what's putting you off of your mechanical bike. Could it be better? Could it be lighter? Could the gearing be better? And those are all the questions you have to ask before you dip into that electric motor assist that helps you everywhere you go. Take care, be well, keep riding.